Hey, what's up guys, it's Patrick, and this is my fight caves guide. Please watch the whole video before you attempt this. I'm going to start off with stats. I recommend a minimum of 70 plus magic, 70 plus defense, and 43 plus prayer. Next thing is gear. This is probably the lowest level setup you can get away with. I have an Aram's hood, Aram's top, Aram's skirt, Batwing gloves, Batwing boots, a skill cape, an amulet of glory, and a Seer's ring. As for the weapon, I'm using an Aram's staff. You're actually going to see me use full Batwing in the video, but I barely made it out alive using that, and I'm a fully max player, so I don't recommend it for you guys. Next thing is the inventory setup. I have 2 supersets for magic, prayer renewals, super restore potions, air runes, water runes, and the best food I can use. So let's go over a few things. The majority of the monsters in fight caves are weak to water spells, so you're going to need air and water runes. You should use the best water spell you can, but whether you should use the regular spellbook or Ancients is up to you. Ancients is better, but in my opinion it's a waste of money, so I'm using Water Surge from the regular spellbook. I'm only using 2 super restore potions here because I only used protection prayers. If you're going to use stuff like Soul Split, Torment, or Augury, you may need 4 to 6 super restores. I'll get more into that later. Keep in mind my gear and inventory setup is merely a guideline. If you have better alternatives, you should use those instead, such as overload instead of a superset. Which, if you do have overloads, you should use them throughout the whole fight caves. If you're going with a superset, you should use it more conservatively, generally starting at around waves 20 or 30 and up. I also want to talk about Rejuvenate and Guthix's Blessing. These abilities basically do the same thing. They're both ultimate abilities, which means they require and use up 100% adrenaline, and when you use them, they restore a lot of your health. There's a 5-minute recharge time on both abilities. They heal more than regenerate, and you can do it while you're in combat. The difference between the two are the requirements. Rejuvenate requires a shield and 52 defense. Guthix's Blessing requires completion of the World Wakes quest and 85 constitution. So if you don't meet the requirements for Guthix's Blessing, you need to give up a piece of food to bring a shield for Rejuvenate. To get to the fight caves, you can teleport with your Tokuzol and press 3. If you don't have a Tokuzol, then here's a map. Now I'm going to give you some information on the monsters you encounter. I'm also going to give each of them a nickname because that's a lot easier to memorize and pronounce than their actual names. The first monster you encounter are the bats. They attack using melee, and I highly recommend killing these first no matter what wave you're on, because every time they hit you, your prayer gets drained. They could probably drain your prayer faster than if you had all your prayers on at once. I may be exaggerating, but you get the point. The second monster you encounter starting at wave 3 are the blobs, who also use melee attacks. These are by far the least of your worries. The only thing you need to know about them is when you kill it, and when I say kill, I say it with quotation marks because they split into 2, and then you have to kill the 2 for it to be officially dead. The third monster you encounter starting at wave 7 are the Rangers. This is where it starts to get a little bit dangerous. He doesn't do anything special, but it's probably best to kill these guys third because range is your weakness. The fourth monster you encounter starting at wave 15 are the Meleeers. These guys are stronger than the Rangers and they can heal everything including themselves, so I recommend killing these guys after the bats. If you kill them fast enough, you won't have to worry about the healing. The fifth monster you encounter starting from wave 31 are the mages. This is the point where you have to start using some prayer if you haven't already. You should keep protect from magic on from waves 31 to 62 because mages spawn in all of these waves. The only significance of these guys are they're the strongest monsters right before Jad. As long as you keep protect from magic on, you can get away with killing these guys second to last, the last being the blobs. I know it's kind of confusing when I was saying you should kill this first and this last because it's out of order. I was organizing them by what you encounter first, so I'm going to go over it one more time. You should kill the bats first because they can drain your prayer fast. Kill the Meleeers second because they're strong and they can heal things. Kill the Rangers third because they are your weakness. The mages are stronger than everything except Jad, but it's not as bad if you have protect from magic on. That's why it's fine if you kill them fourth or second to last. And finally, kill the blobs last. You don't have to follow this order strictly. If something else seems more convenient for you, then go ahead and do that. Like, for example, the bats only drain your prayer if they're attacking you. If they happen to get stuck behind something, I see no reason to go out of your way to kill it first. As for what prayer you should use, if you have 92 plus prayer, use Curses for Soul Split. If not, use the regular prayer book. You can use Torment or Augury if you want to, but it's not necessary. You can also use protection prayers against the Rangers or the Meleeers if you want to, but that's also not necessary. The only prayer that's really needed is the protection prayers for the mages and Jad. So the more high level prayers you want to use, the more super restores you should bring. You should also bring more if your prayer level is low. If you're still unsure of how many you should bring, fight caves take about an hour to an hour and a half if you want to estimate yourself. 6 super restores is always your safest bet. If you find that you don't have enough, you could always just use it more conservatively. It'll just slow you down, that's all. There are a total of 63 waves in fight caves, and it's very easy to know what is going to spawn in the next wave because there's a pattern. I'm not going to go over all 63 waves because I'm hoping to catch this pattern within like the first 8, and also it's too long to go over. So in wave 1 there's 1 bat, in wave 2 there's 2 bats, in wave 3 there's 1 blob, in wave 4 there's 1 blob and 1 bat. In wave 5, there's 1 blob and 2 bats. In wave 6, there's 2 blobs. In wave 7, there's 1 ranger. In wave 8, there is 1 ranger and 1 bat. Hopefully you see the pattern. If not, and you really need it laid out for you, I'll post a link to something in the description that has everything wave by wave. I would put it in the video, but it's difficult to fit something like that into the video itself. I mentioned earlier that fight caves can take about an hour to an hour and a half, so it's a good thing to know there's also a way to pause the fight caves in case you need to go do something else in the middle of it. Pausing doesn't mean you can leave and get more supplies, it's just saving your progress and logging out. Click the option to log out one time so you get a message in your chat box. Finish the wave and it'll automatically log you out. When you log back in, you'll come back in the next wave. I highly discourage pausing right before the Jad wave because you're probably going to log back in and get dealt a lot of damage by Jad, possibly even die. Speaking of Jad though, that's the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video. First off, let's go over the attacks. So Jad can use magic, range, or melee. You don't have to worry about the melee attacks unless you're right next to it, which I see no reason why you would be in the first place. The beginning of both attacks is where it gets a little tricky. That's why you don't want to prayer switch immediately. Both times Jad will raise his front legs a bit. The difference is, for the range attack, he'll bring them down quickly and create a ripple effect through the ground, and when he brings them down, that's when you want to switch to range. For the magic attack, he'll raise himself up until he's standing on his hind legs and spit a fireball at you. When his gut is almost exposed, that's when you want to switch to magic. Now that you know his attacks, I have to tell you how to prepare for him. You encounter Jad on wave 63, but I'm going to start this part on wave 62 because you have to start preparing on the wave right before it. On wave 62, you encounter 2 mages. Kill one of them. You can choose to do his next part before or after you kill the first one. I obviously did before. Head over to this rock thing that sticks out near the bottom left corner. Get inside this gap. This is where you want to be for the beginning of the Jad wave. This is the only part of the fight caves where it's important where you stand. Kill the second mage, get back in the spot, point your camera south, and have your prayers open. Be prepared to prayer switch. Jad has a few spawns. For most of the spawns who end up getting stuck on the rock, unfortunately there's one spawn where he can end up behind you, which is why you need to point your camera that way. If he ends up behind you, be prepared to prayer switch, and as soon as you switch, run around the rock to the other side. You may also need to switch one more time as you're running. Once you're safe, take a breather, heal up, restore your prayer, pot up, and when you're ready, run out and attack Jad. When Jad gets down to about half HP, healers will spawn. These healers are going to bring Jad back up to full HP. That's okay, don't worry about that right now. In fact, stop attacking Jad, just keep prayer switching. And what you want to do now is, after each time Jad does an attack, attack healer. Absolutely do not kill the healers, just attack them until they start running towards you. Once all 4 healers are on you, keep them a fair distance away from Jad, and go back to attacking him. As long as the healers are alive, attacking you, and not too close to Jad, they can't spawn anymore, and they can't heal him. Once you've killed Jad, you'll get your fire cape in about 16k tokens. That's it for this video. I really hope you guys found it helpful and now feel competent enough to do this. If so, good luck. I did work really hard on this video, so be sure to like and favorite as well as subscribing to my channel. I have more guides on there. I do PVM series and just RuneScape videos in general. Catch you guys later. Peace.